I've been sitting with a thought that feels dramatic, but the more that I live and the more I experience it, the less dramatic it starts to feel. Social media is psychological warfare. And I don't mean that in a tinfoil hat kind of way. I don't mean there's some villain in a dark room stroking a cat plotting on your downfall. I mean in the most literal, boring way possible. It's a system designed to change your behavior without asking for your permission. It's a system that studies what makes you anxious, what makes you jealous, what makes you horny, what makes you angry, what makes you feel like you're behind, and it serves it to you in the exact dosage that keeps you engaged. Not nourished, but engaged, because if you were nourished, you wouldn't keep scrolling. And that's what the first thing is that really messes with me, because once you see that difference, you can't unsee it. Because if something was trying to nourish you, it would leave you feeling fuller after, calmer, clearer, more like yourself. But social media, if we're being real, most of the time leaves you feeling vaguely worse. Not in any way that you can point at. Not in a way that you can screenshot, just worse. Like your soul has a battery that's been drained. And you don't even know what you spent it on. That's warfare, because modern warfare isn't always loud. Sometimes it's slow, invisible. Sometimes it's convincing you that your own mind is not a safe place to live. And I think that's what's happening. I'll tell you the scariest part. It doesn't even have to lie to you. It just has to select what you see. If I show you 10 clips of the world, I could make you believe that the world is beautiful. But if I showed you 10 different clips, I could also make you believe that the world is completely doomed. And it's the same planet. It's just a different feed. So when people say, oh, it's just content, I'm like, nah, content is shaping your lens, and your lens shapes your life. Because you don't respond to reality, you respond to what your brain thinks reality is. And social media is basically a reality factory. A factory that doesn't sleep. It's pumping out images of what you should look like, what you should want, your life should look like, who you should be dating, what your room should look like, how fast you should be succeeding, what a good morning is supposed to look like. And if you're not careful, you'll wake up one day and realize that you've been living inside someone else's definition of a good life. And that's just straight up programming. And the reason I call it psychological warfare is because it's not just giving you information, it's attacking your sense of enough. It takes the most fragile parts of you, comparison, belonging, status, attraction, fear of missing out, and turns them into levers and strings, and it pulls them all day. You know what it feels like? It feels like your brain is slightly being poked every 5 seconds. Not enough to hurt, just enough to keep you unsettled, enough to keep you checking. Because if you're settled, well then, you're not going to scroll. If you're content, you're not going to scroll. If you're present, you're not going to scroll. So it makes you restless. It makes you slightly dissatisfied with your body, with your relationship, with your career, your personality, the world. And then offers you the solution, which is more scrolling. That's an insane loop. And you know what's even crazier? We call it relaxing. Oh, bro, I'm just relaxing. Bro, you're not relaxing. You're being conditioned. And I'm not saying you can't enjoy funny cat videos. I'm not saying you can't check in with your friends, learn things, get inspired. Of course you can. I'm talking about the way it subtly trains you to live with a mind that's always half somewhere else. Like you're never fully in the room that you're in. You're always waiting for something to happen. A notification, maybe a message, a like, a view, a new piece of information that will finally make you feel secure. And it never does. Because that's not what the machine is built to do. The machine isn't built to give you peace. It's built to keep you engaged and keep you moving. And then there's the whole other layer. This is where the warfare thing really comes in. It's not just you versus your phone. It's you versus everybody else's curated reality. Because social media doesn't show you somebody's normal Tuesday afternoon. It shows you their peaks and their angles, their best lighting, their best jokes, their vacations, their best relationship moments. And it's like you're walking through a museum of other people's highlights and you're comparing it to the behind the scenes of your own life. And of course, you're going to lose that comparison every single time. Of course, you will. Because your life includes your doubts, it includes your fatigue, it includes your boring moments, your awkwardness, your unphotogenic angles, the days where you don't feel like doing anything. But you're comparing that to someone else's greatest hits. It's like comparing a home kitchen to a 5-star restaurant and then calling yourself a failure because you can't make food that good. And it doesn't just make you jealous, it makes you suspicious as well. It makes you start doubting everything. You'll see a couple posting something cute and your brain will go, oh, they're probably toxic. You'll see someone else succeed and your brain goes, well, they just got lucky. You'll see someone look good and your brain goes, that's fake, that's AI, that's a filter. And sometimes these things might be true, sure. But it makes you detached. It makes you feel like nothing is real. And if you can make a population feel like nothing is real, they become easier to influence. Because when people lose trust in reality, they cling to whatever makes them feel something. Outrage, hot takes, celebrity drama in general, and social media is a perfect delivery system for that because it doesn't reward nuance. Nuance doesn't go viral. A calm sentence doesn't go viral. A balanced perspective doesn't go viral. But rage will go viral. Fear will go viral. Humiliation will go viral. So what happens? So we start performing. We start turning our lives into content. Even if we don't post, we start thinking that we're being watched. Like we're auditioning. Like we're supposed to be interesting all the time. And I swear that's one of the most underrated ways social media damages you. It makes you treat your own life like it's not fully yours unless someone else is validating it. Like an experience doesn't count until it gets seen, and that quietly kills your relationship with yourself. Because you're not living for the moment. You're living for the proof and the validation of other people. You're living for proof that you're lovable, proof that you're successful, or proof that you're attractive, proof that you're even having fun. And if you live like that for long enough, you forget what you actually enjoy. You just chase what looks good. And it's so subtle. It's so sneaky. You don't wake up and say, today I will abandon my inner compass. It happens one scroll at a time. One tiny hit of, this is what you should be. This is what you should look like. So yeah, psychological warfare. Because it's not targeting your body. It's targeting your identity. It's trying to convince you that your natural state isn't enough and that you should keep on scrolling. And if you convince someone that they're not enough, you can sell them anything. You can sell them products, you can sell them lifestyles, you can sell them beliefs, and you can even sell them a whole worldview. And you know what's wild? People will defend it. They'll be like, no, I'm in control. Okay. But if you were in control, why does your hand open up the app before your brain even decides? Why do you check it when you're anxious, when you're bored, when you're lonely, when you're avoiding something, when you're happy, when you don't even want to? That's not control. That's just conditioning. And I'm not saying this from a high horse because I feel like I've felt my own attention get cooked. I felt my ability to sit with one thought get weaker. Like a lot of these videos that I'm making, I sit down and journal my thoughts out, and then I have bullet points and I expand on them while I'm talking. And I felt my attention over time slowly get less and less. Like I'll get distracted. My brain will go to other places. And yeah. The thing is, real life doesn't give you a new plot twist every 3 seconds. Real life is subtle. It requires waiting. And if you train your brain on constant stimulation, You start experiencing normal life as dull. You start needing noise to eat, noise to drive, noise to shower, noise to fall asleep, noise to just exist. And then when the noise turns off, you don't have peace anymore. You have withdrawal. And that's terrifying because that means the app didn't just take your time. It's also taken your ability to be alone with yourself. And that's the deepest cost. So what do we do with this? Because I don't want the whole delete everything, 2 to 3 years Dagestan kind of thing, First of all, I like memes. Second of all, social media can be good. It can genuinely connect people, teach people, inspire people, entertain people. The point isn't to demonize it. The point is to stop pretending it's neutral. You have to treat it like it's a drug or a substance. If you consume it mindlessly, it's going to shape you mindlessly. But if you consume with intention, you can almost shape your reality to what you want it to be. So for me, the shift was this. I started treating my attention like it's my homeland, like it's something worth defending. And if that sounds extra, fine. Be extra. It's your life. You don't get a second one. So I started adding friction. I started making it harder to enter the battlefield by accident, because the scariest version of social media isn't the hour that you choose to scroll. It's the hundreds of little checks that you do without even noticing. And then you'll look back and be like, wow, I've used it a lot today. The microdoses of distraction from your day, those are what fracture you. Those are what make you feel like you never have any time. Because your time isn't being stolen in big chunks. It's being stolen in small amounts. And these small amounts will add up over time. So I'm not going to give you some clinical tips, but I'll tell you what I do like I'm talking to a friend. I don't start my day scrolling. Because if I start my day scrolling, I've already started my day with everybody else's agenda, with their beauty standards, with their fears, their drama, their success. And I already feel bad about myself. And I wonder why I'm behind already at 9 a.m. Because of course I do. I've just injected comparison from other people before I even got out of bed. I also don't trust how I feel after I've been scrolling. I just don't. Because scrolling puts you in a fake reality where everything is urgent and extreme and curated to keep you engaged. So if I scroll, I suddenly feel like I need to change my whole life. I'll be like, okay, maybe. But I also just got my brain microwaved. And I'm trying to come back to my own pace. I'm trying to remember what my actual life is. My room, my people, my goals, my body, my schedule, my values. Not the algorithm's values or goals. Because the algorithm doesn't have these. It has objectives. Engagement, retention, growth. And if you live your life according to these objectives, you will inevitably become a restless person. You'll never feel alone. And if you live your life according to these objectives, you will inevitably become a restless person. You'll never feel done or enough. You'll always be building a brand even though you never wanted to be a brand. And that's another thing that makes me laugh. Not everyone is meant to be perceived by thousands of people. We weren't built for it. We were built for community, sure, but for small circles, for real feedback, for touch, for eye contact, for being known by a few people deeply. But now everyone is swimming in this mass perception, and it's messing with our self-respect and our concept of ourselves. Because the concept of yourself needs stability, and it needs... Yeah, and social media makes it unstable. It's constantly offering you new ways to define yourself, new rules, new aesthetics, new micro trends. So you keep reinventing yourself, not because you're exploring, but because you're trying to land on an identity that finally gets approved by everyone else. But then you have to ask yourself, who is everyone else? The crowd? The numbers? The invisible jury in your head? And I'm telling you, living for that invisible jury in your head is like you're starving yourself spiritually, because the jury never hugs you. The jury never holds you when you're sad. It never shows up when your life gets real. So yeah, warfare. Because it gets you to betray yourself while also calling it staying informed and staying connected. So if you're watching this and you feel like your brain has been scrambled, I don't want you to hate yourself. This stuff is designed by people who understand human behavior more than you understand yourself. And it's not a fair fight. It's just not. But you can win your life back in small ways. You can not scroll when you haven't even gotten out of bed yet. You can not distract yourself while you're eating or in the shower. You can protect your conversations with other people. You can protect the parts of your day that are supposed to be human. Because the goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to be present enough to actually build the life you keep daydreaming about. And you can't build it if your attention span is constantly being cooked. So yeah, social media is psychological warfare. Not because it's evil, but because it's powerful. And the algorithm does not have your best intention in mind. It has profit in mind. And if you don't use it intentionally, it's going to use you. If you're trying something new, like defending your attention or choosing your own pace, just know I'm rooting for you. You've got this. Have a good day.